This is Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Kings wrapped up their home preseason schedule with a resounding 132-93 loss to the Utah Jazz last night. Marvin Bagley led the way with 17 points and 8 rebounds for the Kings. Buddy Hield added 7 points, 4 boards, 7 assists, and 3 steals. The Kings finish their preseason slate tonight in Portland. Pregame for that starts at 6:30 right here on Sports 1140. Tip-off is set for 7 o'clock. Sacramento opens their regular season schedule Wednesday at home against the Jazz. Week 6 of the NFL got going last night with the Eagles beating the Giants 34-13 at MetLife Stadium. The defending champs moved to 3-3 on the year, while the Giants fell to 1-5. The Sharks lost to the Rangers 3-2 last night in overtime in New York, and the National League Championship Series kicks off tonight. It's a couple of lefties on the mound with Clayton Kershaw squaring off against Gio Gonzalez in Milwaukee. The winner of that 7-game series moves on to the World Series. The American League Championship Series begins tomorrow. Those are your top stories, and now it's back to the drive with Carmichael Dave on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Rise and shine, sleepyhead.
I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what?
Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
Morning, morning, morning.
You're gonna talk.
Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
Four down territory coming up in about 15 minutes. Sean Salisbury makes his regular Friday appearance at 7:35. Dave Richard will have your fantasy football starts and sits, as he does every Friday at 8:05. Dave Richard, of course, from CBSSports.com. I want to remind you all guests come to you via the Fire Wings hotline. 21 different flavors to choose from, of which Kyle has 2 left. 1 left. I apologize. Firewings.com. Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor and just wing it. Oh, good for you, Kyle. 1 flavor left. It's a flavor tour. What is that flavor?
The one I have left is mango habanero.
Wow, shade thrown at mango habanero.
I had sriracha last night.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the Fire Wing, which is their spiciest wing on their spicy scale.
Yeah.
So I'm just afraid mango habanero is going to be hot to the point where I won't eat 5 of them.
Bet you mango habanero is less spicy than the Fire Wing. You know how I know that? I've had mango habanero.
Oh, okay.
It's spicy, but it's not
Sure.
like, oh!
Right. Yeah, the Fire Wing wasn't even like that, which is what I was expecting when I bit into it. I was expecting to want to sweat and then die.
Mango
But,
habanero is the last chicken wing on the playground.
I was thinking maybe I would like order some, bring them in, and eat my 21st flavor on air.
I think you should. We should do like a thing.
Yeah.
For the Fire Wing all 21 flavors crown.
Yeah. I'd be the Fire Wings champ at that point.
I'm going back and forth with a guy online. You know, sometimes people get things in their head and it just sticks. This guy can't stand Dave Yeager. Let me just do a little half-throated defense of Coach Yeager here. What we do as Kings fans is we recycle. It's never our fault. It's always something else. It's always the coach or the GM or the this or the that. And in many cases, that's true. Dave Yeager started out in the developmental leagues. He won, 5 championships in 8 years. Got promoted to Memphis, became renowned around the league for being a top assistant and the X's and O's guy. A guy who could design killer plays on inbounds, knew what he was doing. Players all loved him and respected him. Then Lionel Hollins left, Yeager took over, and he proceeded to take that team to the playoffs every single year, including his last year with the Grizz, in which he took a team that missed more games than any other playoff team in history to the postseason. He comes to Sacramento and is almost immediately greeted with, hey, your franchise player just got traded for Buddy Hield and a draft pick. And then adding to that, he gets De'Aaron Fox and Marvin Bagley and Harry Giles, who was out for a year. I'll say it before and I'll keep saying it. You can take the best chef in the world. It doesn't matter. You have to have ingredients. Now, that doesn't mean He doesn't have good ingredients. I'll stick with the food analogy. His fruits and vegetables aren't ripe yet, and someday will be amazing and tasty and good. But they're not right now. He was 50-32, 55-27, and 42-40 in his 3 years in Memphis. I remember that 42-40 year, everyone was injured. He's still 2 games over 500 for his career, and please keep in mind that's after spending 2 years in Sacramento. He's won CBA championships 3 times. CBA Coach of the Year 2 times. Now the G League. IBA champion once. D-League champion once. That's 5 minor league championships between 2001 and 2007. Why does that matter? Because that shows you that Dave Yeager understands how to coach kids, how to mentor them, how to build them up, how to develop talent. To me, Dave Yeager's the exact coach you want for this team right now, and I know that gets a lot of eye rolls. I've had no problems going after coaches here in the past at all. George Karl comes to mind. Dave, think about this. With all the crap that has been going on with the Kings over the last few years, including the Cousins' final year, how many locker room issues have you heard about? How many unsourced quotes have you heard come out about the locker room or the spirit or the coaching complaints? This is the worst team in the NBA over the last few years, yet you haven't heard nary a negative peep other than, well, they're a bad team. But not, well, we got to start, that's when you start seeing things in the paper or on ESPN or Woj where it's like, well, sources say that there's unrest in the locker room as the veterans are striking back and wondering, look what's going on in Minnesota with Tom Thibodeau, who's widely regarded as a good coach. And no, it's not enough just to get along with the players and keep peace in the locker room. But at some point you have to go, okay, it's not the coach. Why is it that people come here with successful backgrounds and then all of a sudden they just magically forget how to coach or play basketball? I couldn't stand Marco Bellinelli when he was here, but somehow Marco was just fine on the Spurs, came in here, wasn't great at all, and now he's doing just fine. Now, how many players can we name that have done that? You want to go ahead and fire the coach, and fire the coach, we'll go right back to it. And maybe he will get fired. I don't know. But when I look at what's wrong with this team, I don't go to Dave Yeager. I don't. You can't. There you go, right here at 209. You said it perfectly. It was just about to come out of my mouth. You can't polish a turd. It is a young, potential-filled turd. But it's a turd. It's true.
Young potential-filled turd is actually my rap name.
Yes. Super turd, just young. It's our motto. I mean, last night sucked.
Can we make super turd just young t-shirts?
Probably not. Probably get taken the wrong way. Yeah, not bashing the organization.
No, I mean for you and me, not them.
We're doing the TV thing now. It's tough. I asked this question on Twitter last night, Kyle. I said, I understand King's frustration because I'm right in the middle of it, and I am one. But I do wonder, if the Kings had made the playoffs a few times under DeMarcus Cousins and that whole deal, let's just say the Kings had made it, instead of missing the playoffs for 12, 13, whatever years in a row they've missed the playoffs for, let's say they'd made the playoffs 5, 6, 7 of those years. And they got to the end of that run, and then they started that rebuild, remember, 2 years ago this February. It hasn't even been 2 years since the DeMarcus Cousins trade. It's been a year and a half. My question for Kings fans is, would you be anywhere near as frustrated as you are right now? In other words, how much of Kings fan frustration is about the current method of the rebuild, the roster, the current win total, and how much of it is that plus they've sucked forever and other teams have rebuilt on the fly and The other teams have gone from playoffs to bust, back to playoffs since we've been rebuilding. How much of that is accumulated frustration, and how much of it is really having an issue with the current method of rebuild? Because I don't have really an issue with the current rebuild. I think they're actually doing what they should. They're drafting players at a high clip that are talented, some raw, some way big upside with giant floors. Since they traded DeMarcus, and I was not a fan of that, I don't have a huge issue with what they've done. We just haven't seen the results yet.
And that's the sentiment I've gotten, is that, okay, fine, they're doing everything right now, but people don't want to wait for that, because people have been told that, oh, we're doing this the right way for the last decade.
Sure.
And they never were. So they finally tore it down, but they tore it down after 10 years of just total running on a treadmill.
Absolutely.
That was 100 yards behind everybody else.
Absolutely.
And now they're finally getting off the treadmill and trying to catch up. And I can imagine that's frustrating.
What I worry about is that the frustration from those 10 years of failing is going to bleed into these last 2 years where they're finally maybe doing it right. And
Sure.
now all of a sudden it's like, oh, we got to change stuff. We got to make moves. Well, now we're back to square one again, or maybe square two.
Right.
But it's going to be tough. I don't blame Dave Yeager.
Not his fault.
Well,
You could put Phil Jackson on the bench.
And for those of you who say Dave Yeager has an archaic offense or his offense is simple, let me put it in simple terms. And I mean no offense to the players. The players' basketball IQ is dumb right now. This is a young, dumb team. And I don't mean the players are dumb or stupid. It's
like
not what I mean.
getting on a kindergartner for not knowing calculus.
Thank you. That's not me calling out the players. They're young. I'm defending them. They don't have the experience yet to run a good, complicated offense.
Well, those first graders are doing really simple math.
Yes. You can't put algebra on.
1 plus 4 is really archaic.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't just roll and be like, you know what, they need to learn factoring and calculus. Well, yeah, but they also are in diapers.
Right.
We'll take a break. 4 Down Territory is next right here on Sports 1140 KHTK.
This is the Lowdown. The Lowdown.
They go 1-0-15. Are they undefeated?
Mm-hmm.
You guys are idiots. I
We
swear.
are?
Yes.
What would you call 1-0-15?
Call it absolutely ridiculous and incredible at the same time. Like, do you know how much football they would have played if they played 15
10 extra
times?
minutes each week.
How many more games is that? So 6 overtimes would be 1 full game. So it'd be 2 extra games, 2 and like a half.
Yeah. Well, now you get math.
The Lowdown with Damian Barling and Jason Ross. Weekdays from noon to 3.
Right here.
On Sports 1140 KHTK. We do sports.
Why should you use Zoom Imaging Solutions for all of your office equipment needs? Zoom is never too busy to greet you personally. Zoom has the best copiers, printers, and solutions in Northern and Central California and the Bay Area. Zoom offers industry-leading on-site response time for service and repairs. And because Zoom is consistently ranked as a top market leader, that's why you should use Zoom Imaging Solutions. Call them at 916-369-6526 or go to zoomcopiers.com to reach an office equipment specialist in your area.
If you need a work truck, you need a dealer who works as hard as you, like Maida Chevy in the Elk Grove Auto Mall, a business elite dealer. Maida Chevy has the commercial vehicle you're looking for. Work-ready Silverados, express vans, commercial loaners, and so much more. All backed by Maida Chevy pros who know your vehicles are your livelihood. Whether you need one vehicle or an entire fleet, Maida Chevy's got you covered. Business elite at Maida Chevy, Sacramento's #1 Chevy dealer for over 10 years. Find new roads.
Sacramento retail sales.
Made a great deal in Maida.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. Roger Goodell has to be pleased that scoring is at an all-time high in the NFL. According to the Wall Street Journal, teams are averaging 24 points per game, which is an increase of 2.3 points or 10.6% over last year. Now, several factors have contributed to this increase. The Journal's analysis revealed that, for the first time, teams are passing more than running on first down by 51.7%. Also, teams are going for 2 more often, 11.3% of touchdowns versus 7% a year ago. And they're converting more than half half of them. NFL coaches seem to be more receptive to incorporating successful college offensive concepts such as the spread offense and the run-pass option. Fixing the troublesome catch rule and the league's emphasis on protecting quarterbacks also has helped. Finally, there's an abundance of quarterback talent, old and new, with Jimmy Garoppolo the only starter so far KO'd by injury. I'm Boomer Esiason. You know what's not smart? The way hiring used to be. Job sites that overwhelm you with tons of the wrong resumes. Now there's a smarter way at ZipRecruiter.com/go. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds the right people for you and actively invites them to apply. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is rated #1 by employers in the U.S. based on hiring sites rated by Trustpilot with over 1,000 reviews. And right now, my listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/go. That's ZipRecruiter.com/go.
My family's well-being is what I'm all about. And now with Caseta by Lutron, I've got that peace of mind. Caseta is a smart home lighting system I control from my phone. It's like magic. I was out of town last week and had set the porch lights to come on at dusk. So my family felt safe, like I was there.
Caseta by Lutron. Simple to use, simple to set up. Discover how Caseta smart lighting controls can upgrade your life at CasetoWireless.com. Welcome home to peace of mind.
Hi there, this is Jason Ross, and we all have financial questions. Can we afford a bigger home? What's the best way to save for my next vacation? And can we lease or buy a car? Whether you have questions about saving, spending, or anything in between, Bank of America's experienced financial specialists are here for you. Proudly serving the greater Sacramento area, schedule an appointment at bankofamerica.com/conversation. And start the conversation.
Attention laborers, tree arborists, and equipment operators. Mountain F Enterprises is hiring and you could be the next perfect candidate. If you have experience in any of these fields as a laborer, tree arborist, or equipment operator, Mountain F Enterprises wants to hear from you. Text MFE to 71441 now. MFE offers full benefits, a 401k plan, and many options for growth within the company. Text MFE to 71441. You can also apply online at mtfent.com/employment. Mountain F Enterprises, the leader in utility tree safety.
Subject to dealer stock on hand and approved customer credit. See dealer for details.
Here, Roseville, think Lexus. Now think the L Certified Fall Collection event. Cream of the Crop Certified's available right now at Lexus of Roseville, located in the Roseville Auto Mall.
It's time for 4 Down territory. On the drive, first down.
4 Down territory brought to you by Fire Wings. 21 different flavors to choose from. Firewings.com. Just wing it.
Hey, do you feel better about the Eagles after last night?
If I'm an Eagle fan, I do, because it was good to see them blow a team out, especially on the road, and that's an NFC East matchup, and anything can go, and you're in New York. But, man, the Giants are a mess. Oh, God, the Giants, Grant's New York Football Giants, they are a mess.
They're a real disaster.
And I don't want to put any words in Grant's mouth, by the way. But I just reading his tweets and kind of interpreting them, I'm not sure he's a huge Odell Beckham fan. In fact, I think he might really? Not be. Yeah.
Interesting.
Eli Manning is a faded warrior.
Yeah.
I saw an article yesterday about Dave Gettleman, the GM for the Giants, Kyle, saying that they didn't even listen to offers. And also a guy who, in GMing 2 teams, has never traded down in the draft. And it makes you wonder, when you look what the Jets gave up to move up in the draft, what if they just walked across the hall at that stadium and the Giants had made that move? Saquon Barkley, fine. But I think we've shown in this day and age running backs can be grabbed anywhere. And by the way, Saquon Barkley has been low-key horrible this year. Have you seen his splits? I was looking at this yesterday. He has like 1 or 2 rushes a game.
Yeah, he has one or two
huge
explosive plays, yeah.
And I think last night he had like 2 of his rushes were for big yards. And then I think his remaining 13 or 14 rushes, he gained like a total of 4 yards or something stupid. Like, he hasn't been as great as he seems.
I don't know. If you're going to average 10 yards a carry, I don't care how you do it.
Right. But then could that pick have been used better for a quarterback.
Yeah, and that's
other
guys. Right. So that
I shouldn't have said horrible for Barkley, by the way. I should have said he hasn't been as great as people
They're
think.
relying on him a lot.
Right.
The thought was, he's going to be a dynamic playmaker in this offense, and he is. They just dramatically overestimated the impact he would have.
I really shouldn't have said horrible. I feel bad about that. He hasn't been. You look deeper in the numbers.
He hasn't been the game
and there's
changer
issues.
that they need.
Right.
Yeah. But the question now becomes, okay, do you credit the Giants with finding a Pro Bowl caliber running back?
Yeah.
Because he is. He's an extremely explosive playmaker.
The guy 229 yards from scrimmage last night.
Yeah, that's incredible.
We're talking about his receiving.
Or do you discredit them for not identifying their biggest roster weakness, quarterback? And going after that when there were quarterbacks worthy of a top 5 pick?
Second down.
Second down.
Who needs a win most this weekend?
There's a lot of games, man, looking down this schedule. There's a lot of games filled with, one team wins and they're there. We're getting into week 6 now. It's still way too early to start talking playoff positioning. But it's also not the first 2 weeks of the season, if you get my drift. We're starting to get a decent idea of what some teams are. I'm going to go with Atlanta. Playing at home against the Buccaneers, who are 2-2. At 2-1, I believe. Are they 2-2 or 2-1? Didn't they have that? No. They're 2-2. Starting to forget who the heck had ties. The Atlanta Falcons are going to play their 4th home game this weekend. That's half their home games already through 6 weeks. It doesn't get easier for them. And they're 1-4. The Bucs and Jameis Winston, who will be starting this weekend, are fully capable of going in there and running all over the place on that field. If the Atlanta Falcons, in my opinion, lose this weekend, and we may already be there, but if the Falcons lose this weekend, they're probably done.
Yeah. 1-5. Bouncing back from a 1-5 start's tough.
I only say probably because you have Matt Ryan, Tevin Coleman, Devontae Freeman, Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, Calvin Ridley. Like, that offense is badass.
Right. You notice how many guys on offense you just named, though.
Right.
Their defense has been banged up and hurt.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys they were going to rely on are not playing. I'm looking at the Vikings. They're playing the Cardinals at home.
Sure.
They've already gotten blown out by the Bills at home. If they follow that up with a loss to the Cardinals at home, you have to figure the Vikings are in very, very serious trouble in the NFC North.
Third down.
I guess the same could go for the Packers on Monday night. What is your Week 6 game to watch?
I'm going to go over to the AFC. I'm going to look at the Steelers and Bengals. Pittsburgh goes to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is 4-1, 2-0 at home. The Steelers 2-2-1. They are 1-0-1 on the road. So here's the deal. The Steelers, we fully expect to bounce back, but they're not getting any younger behind center. And the Bengals, we fully expect to start fading, but they're 4-1. So this is one of those games where if the Bengals come out with another win, wow, that's another quality win for the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay, I don't want to believe, but they've beaten the Ravens, they've beaten the Falcons, they've beaten the Dolphins, and now they've beaten the Steelers. That's some quality wins. And Falcons is obviously questionable, but that was in Atlanta. If the Steelers go in there and win, well, now you say, okay, well, let's see. They're 3-2-1. They've got the bye week coming up. If Le'Veon Bell's still with the team, they get him back, and they're going to have Bell and Connor. And now all of a sudden you're in a little bit of a different situation with Pittsburgh where they're just fine. So that to me is the one to watch.
Yeah, the obvious one is Chiefs-Patriots, right? In New England, that's the obvious one. Rams-Broncos, I think, is sneaky fun because I don't think the Rams are going to go undefeated, although they might. And this just feels like one of the games that they might lose. Second consecutive road game. They got to go to Denver. Denver put up a really good fight against Kansas City. They just got smashed by the Jets in New York, and I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be ready for the Rams. I think that game will be fun.
Fourth down.
Fourth down.
Is it time for the Giants to bench Eli Manning?
The problem is, I mean, yeah. Let's put it this way: it's time for the Giants Eli Manning's done, okay? Eli Manning's done, but then the problem is, okay, well, what do you do, though? Like, what are you doing if you bench Eli Manning? Are you going with Alex Tanney? Are you going with Kyle Lauletta? I mean,
you drafted Kyle Lauletta this year.
Maybe, right? I mean, maybe, but it's not like they have Aaron Rodgers likely. I mean, maybe Lauletta's. Look at Lauletta's last name. Lauletta's not a Hall of Fame name. Let's just get rid of him right now. It's not a Hall of Fame name. Neither's Tanney. Sounds like a nickname for Ryan Tannehill.
Alex Tanney is not good.
Yeah. So, yes, it's a two-pronged answer. Eli Manning should not be the quarterback of the New York Giants because he can't throw. But who are they going to replace him with? Unless they go out there, hey, now if they go out there and they throw a low-round draft pick and they try to grab somebody like I don't know, go grab Ryan Fitzpatrick. Go grab somebody.
It feels a little. I'm sorry, you had more to say.
No, I didn't. I did not.
It feels a little like we're overreacting to a primetime performance last night on a Thursday night.
Sure.
That was his first game of the year under 60% completions. He's completing 68.7% of his throws, 277 yards a game. He's got a quarterback rating of 90.9. That's his highest since 2015 when he last went to the Pro Bowl. He hasn't been as awful as he looked last night.
Let me counter your football mind here. Well, you said however. Let me go ahead.
If they think they have the quarterback of the future, it's not Alex Tanney. Alex Tanney's like 30, and he's been the Titans' third-string quarterback for the last 6 years. If you think Kyle Lauletta is your guy, then you have to start him. You have to get him in there.
All of your numbers about Eli Manning are well taken, but that's a situation, as you well know, where numbers do not tell the whole story. Because the number that matters to me is, he's checking down, he's picking and popping. He can't complete the ball down. He can't throw it downfield.
Right.
He either can't or he does not. And you have one of the, if not the best deep threat in the NFL, making a lot of money for your team. And by the way, that deep threat also
6 catches for 44 yards.
And also, I believe still, unless I missed something last night at the Kings game, owns the longest air yards completion on the New York Giants this year. Your wide receiver has thrown the ball further in the air on a completion than your quarterback. That's a problem. Defenses know that. They can stack. That's where Eli Manning's numbers look just dandy on the surface at times, but when you go behind those numbers, he's a disaster. And somebody on the text line said, you had to draft Barkley. Nobody knew this would happen with Eli. You didn't? He was a disaster last year.
Nobody knew this would happen with Eli.
I don't understand that at all. What?
Grant, you can just call in.
No, I don't know. Actually, I don't know this, but I imagine Grant probably feels semi-similar.
Probably does.
We'll take a break. When we come back, Sean Salisbury is going to join us, and we'll talk. Let's ask him about Eli Manning. Let's ask him if the Giants made a mistake in drafting Saquon Barkley. It's The Drive, Sports 1140 KHTK.
Another Sunday, another KHTK NFL triple header.
And the Raiders have their first touchdown of this game.
First, the Raiders and Seahawks collide from London at 10.
Bortles to Moncrief for the score.
Then the Cowboys host the Jacksonville Jaguars at 1. And we conclude with a huge Sunday night game with New England hosting the undefeated Chiefs.
Kareem Hunt tries the left side, breaking tackles, and blows into the end zone. Touchdown, Kansas City.
Football. All day on Sunday here on your home for the NFL. Sports 1140 KHTK.
Capital Casino is Sacramento's #1 poker room with limit, no limit, hold'em, blackjack, pie-gow poker, baccarat, and 3-card poker. But also the best food, the best service, and the best games. Capital Casino, 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com. And hey, please, gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, Sacramento, it's your boy DC here for Beck's Furniture and Sleep. It is that special time of year at Beck's. It's anniversary time, 51 years, and that is 5 decades of service, and the sales are tremendous. No interest, no money down, no minimum purchase. The deals are abundant. Bedroom sets, recliners, bar, pub sets, dining sets, not to mention the Beck's Dream Team and what they can do for you. I'm telling you, there is so much to mention at Beck's Furniture and Sleep that I'll go crazy trying to do it. Tell them DC sent you. Visit them today. Beck'sFurniture.com.
Beck's Furniture. Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head, and the total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-929-0277. 800-929-0277. 800-929-0277. Optima Tax Relief.
Credit products are made by WebBank. Rates and terms vary based on credit history. Amazon is not a sponsor of this promotion. Other restrictions apply. See website for details.
How did I get into credit card debt? A trip to the emergency room.
Car repairs.
Moving expenses?
There's a million ways to get into credit card debt, but one sure way to start getting out: Avant. Avant offers access to online unsecured loans from $2,000 to $35,000 at competitive rates and no extra charges for paying back early. Over 500,000 customers have experienced the convenience of a loan through Avant. No wonder Avant has an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. The application takes minutes, and if approved by 4:30 p.m. Central Time Monday through Friday, funds are deposited as soon as the next business day. And now Avant will also give you a $50 Amazon.com gift card after your first payment is made on time. To check your loan options and to get this special radio offer, go to Avant.com today and enter promo code 6060 when applying. That's AVANT.com, promo code 6060. Avant.com, code 6060.
Kim here for Bearco Redwood. Is a new deck on your to-do list? Fall is a great time for this project, and Bearco has everything from the ground up. We have connectors, fasteners, pressure-treated framing, and of course, decking. The most popular choices are the classic Natural Beauty of Redwood or Trex, the low-maintenance composite deck leader. For the month of October, all Redwood and Trex decking is on sale at Bearco. Visit any of our 4 locations soon. Choose quality. Save money. BearcoRedwood.com.
Hey, all you car enthusiasts out there, go to KHTK.com for your chance to win tickets to the Sacramento Auto Show, happening October 19th through the 21st at Cal Expo. Go to KHTK.com today. The Sacramento Auto Show, going down at Cal Expo October 19th through the 21st.
Now your sports update. Sports update. Powered by Mercury Insurance.
Oh, hey, it's my turn. Kyle Madson, top stories, Sports 1140. The Kings lost to the Jazz 132-93 last night in their preseason home finale. Their preseason finale is tonight in Portland against the Trailblazers. Pregame for that is at 6:30 right here on Sports 1140. Tip-off is set for 7 o'clock. The Kings open their regular season schedule Wednesday at home against those same Utah Jazz. The Eagles beat the Giants 34-13 to kick off Week 6 of the NFL season. The Eagles moved to 3-3. The Giants fall to 1-5. Saquon Barkley had a huge game for New York in the loss. 130 rushing yards and a touchdown on 13 carries. He also had 9 catches for 99 yards. The Sharks were in New York to face the Rangers last night and led 2-1 with less than 3 minutes to go, but the Rangers tied it late and won it in overtime. Jonas Donskoy and Marcus Sorensen had goals for San Jose, but Rangers goalie Henrik Lundqvist was the story in this one. He saved 41 of 43 shots. And the National League Championship Series kicks off tonight. It's a couple of lefties on the hill. It's Clayton Kershaw against former Oakland Athletic and Washington National Gio Gonzalez. That game's happening in Milwaukee. The winner of that 7-game series moves on to the World Series. The American League Championship Series between the Astros and Red Sox begins tomorrow. Those are your top stories. And now it's back to The Drive with Carmichael Dave on Sports 1140 KHTK.
It's The Drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Dave Richards going to join us at 8:05. Before we get to Sean Salisbury, Kyle Madson has numbers that he's gathering. So let me just also add Nostradamus at 45-ish, right around what's on tap. And there's a lot on tap this weekend. And if you, understanding we're going to have football for the next hour, if you want to talk Kings and Jazz, don't worry. We'll get back to that at 8:30. And by the way, remember, please, remember that the Kings are in Portland tonight to take on the Blazers in their preseason finale. That's a back-to-back. Back-to-back-to-back.
Okay, I'm gonna get Sean right now, but Eli Manning throws 20+ yards down the field is to back you up here. 9 of 30 for 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. 9 of 30 is not that good.
No, I don't think it is.
It's a passer rating of 85.1. On throws outside the numbers, he's 48 of 82 for 549 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception. Again, not great.
It's not good.
And that's outside the numbers, both at the line of scrimmage up to 20 yards.
Yeah, I'm no football expert, but that's not good. I want to tell you guys a story real quick before Sean comes on. I want to tell you a story about a guy named Russell Brissett. It was Christmas Day a year ago, and a gentleman was driving home after visiting with his kids on Christmas, about a half hour outside of Dallas, Texas. Russell Brissett was walking down I-45 carrying a big, giant duffel bag. Well, he carried a big, giant duffel bag because he's been living on the streets for almost 25 years. He'd hit rock bottom, and he couldn't get out. Why was he on I-45? Because he had been walking south from St. Louis, searching for a warmer climate. He had issues with drugs, alcohol, and it just spiraled from there. So this guy's driving down the freeway after seeing his kids on Christmas. He sees Brissett, and he drove past him. Something told him to turn back. Gentleman picked him up, said, "Come on in." Asked where he was headed. Katy, Texas is where he was going. And initially, he checked him into a hotel for the night. The Good Samaritan did. Days later, however, Brissett was staying at this man's home with the intention of finding a job in Katy. He does chores around the house. His goal is to land a job and get back on his feet. Needed proper ID, got his birth certificate. But he was out of the system for 25 years. They say his birth certificate wasn't good enough. Just shows you were born, doesn't even say you're alive. He got a Social Security card. Needed more ID, a receipt, a bank account. Along the way, the two men talked sports, became friends, and the Good Samaritan even found a dentist to give this guy a brand new smile. Updating now, he's close to getting a photo ID. Once he does, he plans on finding a job. This was a few years back. I never knew this. The Good Samaritan's our next guest. It just goes to show you how amazing my friend Sean Salisbury is. And I'll bet you when he was called to comment on this story, probably took him a while to even want to comment on the story, because he doesn't do it just like when the hurricane happened in Houston last year. He's not doing it for notoriety. He's not calling out massive churches because they won't open their doors for victims of flooding for notoriety. He's not letting people into his home for notoriety. He didn't sleep in his truck with pain in his shoulder and his neck and then wake up and pull over to find Wi-Fi so he could do a podcast with some guy he'd never met because he loved the job so much. Sean, I know that oftentimes when I have you on, it's a big slobber fest because I make no secret of how much I love and admire you. But I also think I think this world is filled with such crap right now that I know that you're humble, and I know that it makes you uncomfortable. And I say this with all love and respect. I don't care, because I think people need to know about stuff like this. Welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you. It was a very kind introduction, and forged a friendship and got him reconciled with his family after 16 months of living under my roof, and he's doing well. called me about a month and a half ago. I checked in with him and his sister to make sure, and he's drug-free and full head of teeth in his hair. Full head of teeth in his mouth, and he got picture ID, he's got birth certificate, he's got Social Security card, and life's different for him, and life's different for me too. So it wasn't. While people want to say I changed and saved his life, the truth of the matter is, I always thought that I had compassion, and I still don't know why I picked him up, but I do now. I didn't for the longest time, but it wasn't just forge and feel sorry. It was we forged a friendship, and I may have changed his life, but he sure as heck changed mine as well. So I got a greater idea of what compassion truly is, and the lack of judgment for race, color, past, present, future, any of those things, and do it. Glad I did. Glad that still small voice spoke to me and told me to turn around and drive back 8 or 10 miles to go pick him up, and you never know how it's going to turn out, and this one turned out pretty well, man.
Well, just to finish that thought, I know you better than the average bear, and off the air, we've had some pretty deep conversations that will always remain between you and I. But this is, and I'll just tick them off because I'm so damn proud of it. You went through a divorce, you went through all the pain that a lot of NFL players do post-career. You told me about nights where you'd be sitting with a handful of pills and a glass full of bourbon or whiskey or whatever it was, staring at a TV in a dark room. You told me about sleeping in your truck. And if I have this timing right, one of the lower points of your life was when we were podcasting together. The ESPN thing had been a few years back. So if my timing is correct, this was right around the time. So it's not like you were high on the hog in the ivory tower and, you picked up some homeless guy as a pet to bring home and show your friends how great you were. This was, if I remember correctly, Sean, a pretty low time in your life too.
Yeah, I was just getting through. I just started in Houston. I've been in Houston for about a year. So I was just starting a new job, and for me, in a matter, I'm never afraid of Shane. Yesterday, I think, was Mental Health Day, or the day before, National Mental Health Day, and we laugh at like National Dog Day, because every day's Dog Day, and we laugh at some of these National Pizza Day or whatever, Hot Dog Day. But when it comes to mental health, having been around people that have suffered from it, Matt, I don't take that lightly, and I do know what it's like. I know what it's like to be making $1 million a year and living high, loving life and everything going good. You're at one of the best jobs in television, to suffering embarrassment and going through over a silly, stupid mistake and losing your house, losing your dignity, your self-worth, your self-esteem, sleeping in your truck 100 days a year and having too much pride to talk about it, going to the ATM and finding out you put it in and you're $5 minus on your account, wondering where your next paycheck's going to come from, wondering why you can't get another chance, feeling sorry for yourself, being angry, wondering if you should just jump off a bridge and end it or if you should fight. I lost a house, I was divorced, a job, and everything and my father. All of that hit me in an 18 to 2-year period.
How about your dad?
Yeah, and that was that almost put me over the edge. Yeah. That's not like, oh, woe was me. People go for far worse. And the one thing Dave, I'm probably most proud of is that I didn't quit. I've been through 2 knee injuries, didn't get drafted when I thought, all those things that I thought were the most drastic thing that could ever happen. And, you'll get trolls that'll beat you down over that. Oh, you didn't get drafted, blah, blah, blah. And then you say, well, there's nothing short of death that you can do to me that it's gonna take me off my path, man. Nothing. Now, you mess with the family, then we got problems. But with me, and nothing you can say to me, and nothing you can do to me that will take me off the path that I'm trying to stay on of making a difference and immersing myself into helping others. But that saved my life. Immersing myself instead of feeling sorry for myself was to try and make a difference in somebody else's life. And I've realized that was some of the best times I've ever had when I had no money. Some of the best memories I've ever had when I was just, when I was struggling to get back, because I knew what it was like to be on top of the mountaintop, and I sure as hell know what it's like to be in the outhouse. I've seen both, and I've seen everything in between, and, nobody likes to be down, but, quicksand, at times I felt like I was suffocating. It makes me emotional because I know there's people that are listening or at home that, want to get divorced, or, they're not, their kids aren't talking to them, or they're having drug problems or self-esteem, or their boss, whatever it is. And I went through all that, and there were times when I thought, you know what, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Meaning, am I better off? I think we've all at some point in time, maybe not all this question, is it worth it? And for me, it was worth it. And, yeah, there were times when I laid on my floor crying like a two-year-old kid who didn't have a bottle. Not in a whiny stage, but like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And, you pick yourself up, you battle it, you have good family, good friends, and then you fight back. My comeback is probably, aside from being a dad and being a family guy and helping guys like Russell and whatever I can do, the comeback for me is probably my most significant thing that's happened for me because I had to overcome a lot. So, there's not a whole lot you can do to me now I'm not afraid of anything anymore. There's nothing that scares me, period. So, and I'm not playing tough guy. It's just, I didn't know if I could make it through. So anybody that's going through it, and I know this isn't a psych class, anybody that's going through it, trust me, I was at the lowest point of my life, and I actually thought I was suffocating and dying. I did. But, guys like Russell, I realized, dude, this dude walked across the country just to get a job at Home Depot, day job, and sleep in a sleeping bag under a tree. So I said, you know what, if I can help him, if I can help myself and then help him, we'll pay it forward and help somebody else. And I'm not done. I'll tell you that, I'm not done helping others. So, that's just, money's one thing, but given my time and effort, I feel quite happy that I don't know many people that would have taken a stranger in off the streets for 16 months and not know anything if you're going to get shot at night, if he's going to steal from you. And he's a true friend, and probably I trust him more than I trust people I've known 30 years because he didn't take one nickel, didn't do anything. He was a special guy. All he needed was somebody to care about him. And I hope that I did it the right way.
Sean, I've worked and been around enough retired athletes, and we'll all sometimes have that conversation. Man, if I was a quarterback or a point guard now, instead of making $1 million a year, I'd be making $20 million a year, $15 million a year. I've always wondered with you, considering all that you went through and the ups and downs, I know this is silly, but do you ever consider it sort of a blessing, maybe, that do you think if you'd have been one of those $18 million a year quarterbacks for 5, 6, 7 years, do you think you still would have hit rock bottom and you still would have had to be broke and work your way back up, or would things have been different?
No, I don't think I'd have been broke. We all get cracked somewhere along the line.
Sure.
And when you lose out on a marriage, and that happened before any of the stuff at ESPN and before my dad died. That was me. I was more selfish than I should have been. And I know it's a two-way street in marriage, but when you lose a marriage, I felt like I failed because I was more selfish, and I put my job and my kids in my job, and when your significant other becomes fourth or fifth on the list, that's not good. She deserved better. And I didn't give it to her, and meaning better as far as being there all the time. And sometimes you just got to say no to doing an extra assignment and spend time because significant others you're married, they deserve it. And I didn't give it, and then that's how that went awry, and then you feel like you failed. And no, I probably wouldn't have, because now a failed marriage would have been failed. That's broken, because I never like to fail at something, and I think that there's so many people, the collateral damage, people get hurt in a divorce, even though if they don't admit it. I'll go my whole life knowing I failed at that. I do, and I got great kids, and we've always made them the priority even after the divorce. So that's one thing. And losing your dad, we're all going to go through that. All of our parents, and all of us, we're all going to go through losing our parents. It happens, and that sucks. So those type of things, yes. But the rock bottom of sleeping in the truck, no, I wouldn't have gone through that. So I know your point is hitting rock bottom. Was it the best thing that ever happened to me? When you're going through it, you say, hell no. But after you've gone through it, yeah, I stand tall and proud, man. I do. And I wish that I would have made better mistakes. Do I have regrets? I sure do. I would have loved to change some decisions I made, but it doesn't make me any less of a man, and it sure as hell doesn't define me. What defines me is that I'm a difference maker because I care about other people. And I may have a feisty personality, and I may have fire in my belly, but I don't make it personal. I care about people. I fire in my belly about a job, but I separate the two. So what's more important to me is making sure somebody doesn't have to go through what I went through, and people do every day. So any way I can impact somebody, I do. So I'm proud, man. I'm proud, and hopefully it's more of a righteous pride than a prick pride, and I don't ever like to be like that. But to know that I could withstand it, I don't know, Dave, if I had gone through and been a $10 million, $20 million quarterback for 12 years in the league and been a Pro Bowl player, I don't know if I'd have been able to handle losing a dad. You know, when you go through that, when you haven't had adversity, it's hard to understand how to deal with it. But I've dealt with it a lot because the first 18 years of my life, I didn't have any. I had no adversity. I was, you know, you're a star athlete and everything you do. I was a really good student. It felt like everything you touched turned to gold. And when finally you touch it, turns to gold. The gold is now it's fool's gold. Then you got to stare yourself in the mirror. When I finally had to stare myself in the mirror and overcome, it was a different ball game. Then you're in the battle. I wasn't just in the battle of a touchdown pass. I was in the battle of my life and for my life and my kids, and to let them know that the greatest thing is my kids now, after even going through controversy and hurt, they look at me now, and it makes me really happy because they look at me and they've always loved me. I've always had a great relationship, but I always wanted my kids to look at me like I did my dad, that he could do no wrong and that he'd overcome anything, and he always had us. And my kids look at me, and the one thing they'll always know, they can go anywhere and know my dad's tougher than your dad. You know, that feeling of there ain't nothing you can do. They're proud that their dad hit rock bottom and bounced back up. And to this day, that's my greatest I don't know, attribute or good. My most prideful thing is that my kids can always look back and say, my dad's a cool bastard because he's tough and he overcame it when he had nothing. And that makes me feel good.
I'm going to ask you a loaded question here, but you're a guy who went through a divorce, who was struggling with pain. I remember you telling me one time one of your biggest fears was that you'd get a headache and you'd see friends of yours that you played with that we were just learning about CTE and you didn't know. So a headache for you could have meant something completely different.
You panic.
Yeah. And you had that fear. You also had social media and you were having all kinds of tough times on there with everything that went down, all the things that we just recounted that you went through in your life.
People are brutal, Dave. I don't mean to interrupt you when it comes to that.
Yeah.
They don't know. You can go after me on anything you want when it comes to sports. You didn't like me as a player, everything. People really don't know deep down when they attack somebody who's been through hard times. It was really at life or death situations that they can make. They don't know the impact they have with their words saying it. The trolls, when they think they're being funny and they go after somebody and call them they don't realize the impact. But go ahead. Yeah, the social media thing, if you buy into it, it can be harsh. And we got to remember that these guys, they get up every day struggling too.
And my point is that you're dealing with emotional issues. You're dealing with financial issues. You're dealing with family issues. You lost your dad. So I guess my last question, and again, it's a loaded question. I think I know the answer, but I want you to say it, is why add to that burden with a project, for example, for lack of a better term, and I mean that with respect, bringing a guy to live with you, for example, or doing the other things that you did. Why were you focusing on anyone else instead of just purely focusing on yourself and everything that you were going through?
What had happened, I didn't know at the time. I really was Christmas Day, as you had said, and I just spent Christmas Eve with my kids, and they were going to spend time with their mother Christmas Day, and I was driving from Dallas to Houston, quite frankly, feeling sorry for myself and a little emotional because I wasn't with them on Christmas Day. We've always had that family stuff, and then when your kids get older, they start spending time with their girlfriends and stuff too. And why I did it, Dave, is the old saying that you regret. I thought about this. That you regret more while I was driving. I regret more the things that I didn't do than the things I did. And when I'd come to work and my buddies would give me a hard time, laugh and say, "Dude, you doing a show," they'd start laughing. Say, "What happens if you wake up at night and he's standing over you with a gun? Or what happens if you leave and he steals it?" I said, "Yeah, well, what if? Then he needed him. Well, what if? Well, you're risking your life." I had friends that say, "You're out of your mind," and I never worried about it. I never did, because I said, if it happens, then you know what? If something horrible happens and he did something to me, then I'm a big guy. I can protect myself. And I just felt good about it. I felt like it was the right thing to do once I decided to let him stay with me and live for 16 months. And then it became I don't even know if it was a project. It became, I wanted to make his life better. And I would have, to this day, it would have been one of the biggest regrets of my life if I had kept driving. Now, knowing what I know about what he'd been through and that he didn't have anything, it would have been a huge regret for me to go through life not having stopped. That would have been something that I would have never let go. And even if something would have happened negative with him here and he stayed and he took something from me or stole, he never did. He was an honorable, good man and still is. And he's become a friend. I would not have, I would have gone to my grave with regret. I didn't want to do that. I don't want to have any more regrets. I've had plenty of those. So I wasn't willing to let somebody else go through the suffering. I just couldn't do it.
Sean Salisbury, you can follow him online at Sean Unfiltered. I don't see anything on the text line, but if anybody out there's thinking, great football interview, Dave, this is like our old podcast days, and every once in a while it just pops up. We've had great conversations about our dads. We've had great conversations from time to time. They're organic. I read this story yesterday. I didn't know it, and whatever you said in the last 20 minutes, I think, judging by the reaction from people listening, people that have gone through things, people that are going through things right now, that to me is a little more important than whether or not Eli Manning should be starting in New York. So we appreciate you.
Agreed. And, hey, enjoy the Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady game Sunday night. But I can tell you this, and I mean this sincerely. I know we like to have laughs when we get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Anybody that's going through it, if you can fix it at home, fix it.
Sean, you're the best.
Fix it. I love you guys, man. Thank you.
Love you too. You take care. That's Sean Salisbury. And yeah, we're late. That's okay. When we get back, Dave Richard, we'll have your starts and your sits, who to pick up. We've got bye weeks going on. Get your questions in now, 441140 on the Jiffy Lube text line, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. If you've got calls, we'll do that in a couple minutes right here on Sports 1140 KHTK.